Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this regular board meeting on November 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. located in the Estill County Board of Education Boardroom at 253 Main Street in Irving, Kentucky. At this time, I would like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone, and I have a young lady that's going to help us say the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for that. I'd like to remind everyone there's a sign-in sheet at the entrance to the boardroom if you'd like to sign in. Mr. Rock, do we have any revisions to this agenda?
We do not.
Okay, so I just have one thing I'd like to add. I have all of my board members present this evening, and tonight I would like to introduce our new student representative. His name is Alexander Lyle, and he is a senior at Estill County High School, and we would like to welcome you to serve as our student rep. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. So first on our agenda, Mr. Brock, we have our facilities update, and first is our Estill County Middle School.
We've got Deco here to do our presentation for the considerations that we'll look at here in just a moment, or we'll prove just a moment. So, guys, it's yours to give us an update on the design of the middle school.
So, pretty good prop tonight. We've come a long way. I
It's a lot thicker than
underestimated
it used to be.
how heavy it is. If you carry it in with one arm all the way from the parking lot to in here, you'll start thinking about using your second arm. So. The difficult part about where we are is, so we are seeking design development approval. We're deep enough into this process to where we do have substantial drawings. It's a very difficult thing to present. There's really no way to show you 200-plus sheets of drawings in this setting. So they were included in your packet. We're going to leave a big print. We are open to communication, and we'll handle it that way. We'll kind of hit the high points in a kind of a presentation format just because this is kind of impossible to deal with. There's two separate things that we need to talk about tonight. One is we are seeking a design development approval. So this is approval 2 of 3. So there will be one more kind of big one before you bless us to go to bid. This is the second one. So this will continue to evolve. We will continue to meet with your staff. We will have more meetings where we continue to dive into the kitchen equipment. We continue to dive into door hardware. We will meet about security and some of those things. So that some of that stuff is yet to come, but we've made significant progress. Second to that on the agenda, there's another line item for your consideration and hopeful approval of a BG3. So there are 5 of the BG documents. One is the one that launches you. That's the initial budget. 2 is the outline specification. So that's the one where we tell KDE kind of the wall assemblies and how the building is going to be built. 3 is essentially an update to BG1. So it's just keeping the budget alive as we get deeper through the process. So we're going to show you that and seek your approval for that as well. So, Jeremy, I don't want to torture them with this one. I would like to show them the other one, that one. If we could kind of hone in on this one, I'll work from here. Thank you. Yeah. Control L does it if you're an acrobat. All right. Thank you. I know a trick or two.
Did you just teach Mr. Simpson something?
All right, that's one for the visitors. All right, so here we go. We're going to give you just kind of a general bird's eye update of anything. If you have any questions, comments, we are good for it. So we're going to start with the floor plan. This scheme has been intact for a long time. So it looks similar to how it has looked for a long time. It just has continued to kind of finesse. But there is a main entrance point right here that will be the administration and secure entrance and all of that stuff right here in the central hub. As folks are admitted through the school, there is a big central hub space here in the middle. And so you can make all your major decisions about where you want to go in the school from this one point. So different wings will be 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, kind of radiating from this central area, but also off the back of that is our library. So we really want to show off like the great education spaces right when you come through the building. Off the back of this, if you know that site and how proud it sits above the rest of campus, off the back here is a really nice opportunity to have a view down over the rest of campus. So we want to maximize that, have a nice outdoor space. Maybe we could get a train car or something back there that could be a really great outdoor kind of learning space where if a teacher wanted to bring a class to the library, check out some books or do some kind of special unit and take that outside, it would be a really great space back here, and we'll show that. To the left here, if you choose this wing, is all the events type stuff. So cafeterias, the gym, all of the band space, all of that kind of stuff is on this end, and by design, because you have the capacity to shut this part of the school down and have a dedicated events entrance for the evenings. So we think that makes a lot of sense too. So we're just going to zoom in, and we won't linger here very long, but this is a zoom in, kind of if you remember the overall map, what it looks like. We're just going to focus on that central bit. And in this hub, we've got the main big library, art classrooms off of the library, SRO, HOSA, and then I think the big kind of trophy for your district here is the Paxton Patterson units. And I think that's something pretty unique that you guys do that's really great. So we wanted to celebrate that and kind of get it into the core of the school. One thing cool here is because we have kind of these 4 axes, we're putting a compass rose in the middle of the floor, just so that we have some passive learning in the building, just teaching kids about, degrees on a compass, true north, and how far off of it we are. We're actually celebrating the fact that we're just a few degrees off and trying to make, folks aware, at a deeper level of a compass. We think it's pretty cool.
No, there's more.
That was a lot of buildup for nothing.
Come on, Jerry.
That one might be bogging us down, Jeremy, just because that one's huge. Yeah, out of memory.
Close that big one.
Yeah, might have to close the big one. There we go. Okay, all right, we're in business. Thank you, sir. Okay, so just moving into the wings. Now, all of these are going to look essentially the same. But first, moving into the 8th grade wing, so you're in this lower corner here. These pods are doing a lot of different things. So at face value, you have a hallway, you have restrooms, and you have some classrooms that kind of radiate from that, and it, feels pretty familiar as a school, because these are how schools work, but it's actually doing a lot more than that. This is also your storm shelter. So the center of this pod is the dedicated storm shelter for that grade. So rather than, in the old days, you evacuate your classroom, go out in the hallway, cover your head with a book, or in the days since then, you run to the other end of the school to try to get to the storm shelter. The storm shelters are all kind of broken up and distributed throughout the schools. So they're adjacent directly from classrooms. Above these spaces will be our mechanical platforms. I think Mr. Reese is pretty excited about how clean kind of the mechanical and electrical will be in this building and the serviceability of that. So it's pretty common in schools that you have a drop ceiling, your units are hidden in that ceiling, you're, clambering around with ladders trying to access and work on everything. We've tried our best to make it as clean as possible and to make things serviceable and workable. We have dedicated staff restrooms, dedicated restrooms for the wing, so again, if a child needs a bathroom break, you're not losing them to the other end of the school. We're keeping them within the pods. And then this is a great breakout space, again, to pull groups or to collaborate between rooms. And we're doing some fun stuff, and this has been driven by Mr. Brock and the staff of trying to get math and science in some of these classrooms to collaborate to where they can open to one another.
So the wall in between that you're seeing there, in between the math and the science room, can go away and go into that pocket, so you got one big classroom where your math and your science can collaborate together for lessons.
That's good.
And it's the same way on the other side for your ELA.
All right, so again, I'm not gonna kind of beat a dead horse here, but each of these wings is essentially set up in the same way. So there's 7th grade, we can ease on to 6th. There's 6th grade. There are just some nuances in the colors so that you can kind of quickly visualize that you are in a different wing. And then we are to the west wing. So we'll give this to you in 2 chunks. The first chunk is if you exit into that wing just right off that hub. You get band, choir, kind of all of that is down here. We're actually going to give them a little exterior wall to kind of celebrate them. We've got your fight song on the wall on the front of the school, we think is pretty cool. And then across from them is cafeteria and kitchen. There's some opportunity here just because of the geometry of the building to have a nice outdoor space that's protected. So if we build just a little fence and a gate on this end, we can kind of contain all of this as a nice outdoor space. And we think you could get a lot of use out of it, especially just cafeteria. You can let kids go out, take their lunch outside if you choose. The band may be able to leverage it if you choose, but we think it'll be very useful. And then kind of the big showpiece is new gymnasium off of the left-hand side. So completely new gymnasium with a dedicated entrance for an event lobby, so you can pop in here, you can get to the gym, you can get to the cafeteria, you can get to band, and we can keep the rest of the school closed down if we choose. We've paid a lot of attention to the stage here and tried to get it in good shape for good performances there. And we're excited about it. So now we'll start showing it in 3D. So this is the aerial view that we teased at the beginning. One kind of big takeaway here is we're trying to compartmentalize traffic. So vehicular traffic comes through like so. Bus traffic is a little off screen, but it actually comes down the side of the building. We just keep them apart. We think that's best just to not let them mix. But gymnasium, of course, on that left-hand side, so you'll see it has the barrel roof like a traditional basketball gym. And then this is that kind of central hub space, main entrance here, and then out the back, this is that area where you get the big view over the hill, and then each of the education wings. It's the view, kind of main entrance. Again, students probably aren't going to use this very often, but this is your visitor's entrance, secure entrance. So we need it to be the most pronounced so that people know how to interact with the building. This is the events entrance, so this is down on the gym side. And we also need it to we need it to play second fiddle to the main entrance, but we want it to be the next most prominent entrance. And at night, we can light it up, and we've got your logo kind of in here. So we think it'll serve well as an events entrance. This is that hub that I was talking about. So it was actually Sydney's idea. We have to give her some credit, but she did some research on train stations. And I think it was Central, was it Grand Central? station has this barrel vault in that space, and they have kind of a constellation on the ceiling.
Been there.
Yeah, so we thought,
Yep.
oh, that could be cool. So we're trying to do kind of the train station kind of motif throughout, but without getting too hokey with it. We're trying to do it like the right amount. But we thought that one was a pretty elegant, neat thing that we could place, and it kind of riffs off
You
of
can also
Grand
use it
Central.
as teaching tool.
Yeah, right, that's what we thought. So, and then compasses on the floor, each of the wings, so there's your west, there's south, and then other two are off camera. And then this is the view off the back, so this is if you went through the library, popped out the back, this is that outdoor space. We need you all to buy a train. So if you could find a train,
Working on it.
all right?
I thought that was gonna be your all's gift to us after.
We'll figure it out. But if we could come up with some kind of train, now what isn't really accurate is we don't, accurately model the site once we get off the property line. But in real life, you're gonna have that big view off the back, and it would be really cool to take kids and teach a class out here and get that
Yeah, be outdoor
experience.
classroom.
Yeah. All right, cafeteria. So in the hub, once you go down to each of the classrooms, each one has like an accent color. So we got the order of, we are blue, we really like blue, but it's hard for everything to be blue and not to have any accents. So we gave subtle accents in each of the hub, of the corridors, and then here we kind of pull them all in at the same time. And this is the view off that cafeteria patio. So this, this is kind of a back-of-house space, but it's kind of cozy. And, if we can just commit to that much fence, then we can have all this outdoor space to kind of leverage. And then this is the view of the pods outside. So each of the classroom wings will have this, just the colors will be a little different. So if we could get some kind of, big educational mural on the wall, or some excitement there to where this would be a really good breakout space. But this is also your storm shelter, and above this ceiling is your mechanical platform. All right, this is a science classroom. So we don't have all of this figured out, but we're beginning to figure out furniture and arrangements, and it's a work in progress, but you can kind of see how it's coming together. This is the band room. So the band is on the front face of the building. We're trying to get some, of course, acoustic controls in here, and then some natural light too. We're just holding it up high. And then gymnasium. And then last but not least, this is that shot off the back. If you guys could sponsor Santa and the train, you've got the rest. But we had some fun with you. We made you our Christmas card this year, so it might, hopefully it'll pop into your mailbox in the coming month. We're really proud of this project. We've really enjoyed working with your folks. It's been really good so far. We just want to keep it on the track and bring this thing home. All right, any questions? Anybody want to say something mean?
Why'd you look at me?
I don't know.
Alexander, you're our student rep. What's your thoughts on it?
Only thing I'm concerned about is in the pods with all the furniture. How would that work in case of tornado, earthquake, when you go into the storm shelter? All that stuff's in the way and that many bodies, how would that work?
So we calculate it actually for the occupant load,
Okay.
and we count it net, not gross. So we have to subtract all of that out. So it's actually in the reg. All that stuff, we have to subtract it back out and ensure that it works without it.
So in the end of the day, it won't be in the way. Got it.
Good question.
Yeah, great question.
I had a question about the shared classroom space, and I know historically when I have been in classrooms that had that divider in between, those dividers stop working, they don't slide well, we end up with all kinds of trouble and then the room becomes just non-functional, they don't break it apart. Is there any kind of new technology that would address that?
You're our resident sliding door expert. You want that one?
So,
Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, we do, and I'm gonna hand it to him,
Okay.
and here's why.
Okay.
Because when we design projects that have these partitions, it drives a lot, and we take it on early. So it's not something where we just kind of draw in a squiggle line and say, retractable door here.
Yep.
We go pretty deep on it, and no one goes deeper than Mr. Tobin.
Okay, so the thing about operable partitions, you have very, very low quality examples. You have middle of the road, and then you've got your luxury options.
Well, we're luxury.
Well, so my thoughts would be, depending on the age of whatever example you're talking about, if it's 10, 20, 30 years ago, these things have really come a long way in the last few decades. A lot of people think about the old accordion doors that you pull across. These are not that. So there's a couple of different ways you can build these things out. The main one being, we're worried about sound, right? We're worried about operability. And so the way we treat these operable partitions, I always advocate that we get soft-sided. We typically carpet the surfaces of the operable partition. That absorbs a lot of sound. You get the acoustical treatment on the framing of it. You have to actually go above the ceiling, and you have to frame in above the ceiling with bulkheads, and you have to sheet one side of it to keep sound from traveling up and over the partition. So if that step gets skipped during construction, you can have a really nice partition and all the sound's just going right over the top. And so there's just a lot of boxes you have to check to get everything to come into line for it to perform the way it's designed to perform. I'm not speccing these out to be ultra luxury,
I was just teasing.
But,
I was just teasing.
at the current moment, now, we haven't written the spec yet. So this is a great question, so we can talk about it. My gut reaction to what we should do here was we would probably do manual paired panel units with high decibel call-outs. We want to really knock the sound down and carpet the sides to help, make it look good. And rather than going with electric, which costs, each one of these would be about $15,000 extra to make them electric. And you've got 2 in each wing. And that's a lot of money. But paired panels, they're pretty easy. I've seen them in operation. I don't know if you have any in the district, but they stow away in the pocket. And then you have pocket doors, and when they're stowed, they're out of sight, out of mind. You're not worried about them. You pull them out of the pocket, you grab a hold of it. Most panels are 3.5 to 4 feet. And so you pull them out in pairs. They're hinged together. So they'll come out 6 to 7 feet at a time. You walk them across the room. There's a little handle. You drop the skirt at the bottom, and they're locked in place. You go grab the next pair, pull them across. There's probably going to be 9 to 10 panels on these, depending on how we spec them out. So you got to make 5 trips across the floor, and it gets shorter each time you go. So most of the ones I've been a part of lately have been pretty good. Now, I did have an owner just recently. They went very cheap. They got the vinyl sided.
Structurally functional.
They've got a space that echoes.
Well, talking about with the carpet covering,
That's where we've got to where we're at.
how are they easy to clean? Because in a year with students,
Yeah. so
that's
you-
one thing too, because you
Right.
don't want it to start looking dirty.
So you also
either.
have the opportunity to add accessories that you can put marker boards, tack boards. Project I'm doing right now, we actually have to put an egress door in it to get from one space to the other to get out. So, you can actually add windows to them. But as far as the cleaning goes, it would clean just like your floor would if you had that carpet on the floor. and it's gonna see less traffic and dirt.
Right.
It's just gonna be hands. So it's gonna hold up longer than your carpet that's on the floor anyway. I think we're doing rubber in there. So it'd be color coordinated, but it wouldn't be the same material.
It'd be good for like bulletin board or.
We was talking about alternating marker boards from side to side so that we still had the sound, but then you had functional marker boards in the rooms where you could have more participation.
Give them more groups each one.
Thank you.
So I can go a whole lot deeper if you want, but I suspect you don't, so I'm gonna hand it back off.
You awaken the Kraken.
Thank you.
Anything else on?
Does any-
What about student storage for their coats and whatnot, like lockers?
Yeah, so can we go back to one of the floor plans or one of the classroom shots? Yeah. Somewhere in there. So, decision here thus far has been no lockers. Am I right, Mr. Brock?
We've talked about it. I don't know that we've made a final decision, but we've talked about the space that they take up versus,
So most new schools, and this is a decision, that you make, but most new schools do not put in lockers just because they take so much square footage. They compress the hallways so much. And then, in the kind of digital age, they just don't get enough use. So what happens most of the time in a new school is you try to find solutions kind of in the furniture. So you can get, your modern tables will have hooks on them because you're putting a little more pressure toward backpacks. And then in your cafeteria, we've got to think through that because you'll need some backpack storage in cafeterias and some things where you wouldn't if you'd put lockers in. But kind of the current strategy is to step back from lockers, look at built-in furniture, look at hooks in the loose furniture. And, we're
My,
easing
how
forward
times have
into.
changed.
Times have changed.
That was the big thing, was to get your locker decorated for school.
Right.
Miss Miller remembers, she's smiling.
I have a question as it relates to shatterproof and bulletproof. I know the main entrance, the window was going to be. What about the entrance to the event area? Is that also going to be the same?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's been a pretty serious talk the entire time. Now, we still have one more meeting to have where we talk to the SRO and finalize. But yes, those are discussions we've had the entire time.
any of the exterior that would allow access, quick access, that's what we're looking at.
Okay. And back to the lockers, have we gotten any input from anyone else regarding because I know that was a big issue recently about a student not having a locker.
We'll have storage space for kids. I mean, even if we don't have lockers, we'll have a place where they can store their stuff.
Okay.
That's what.
Maybe a cubby or
Yeah.
under the furniture.
We'll have a place that they can store their stuff
Okay.
and have access to it.
May
But-
I ask something?
Yeah.
So when you said that the wings could be closed off, is that just normal doors or will they have like electronic locks like for the pedway for the ATC?
They'll have electronic locks.
Okay.
And
So the-
actually, it'll be a heavy-duty storm door.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so the idea is that we could lock the entire building down if an intruder was in it from one spot.
Or those
So-
doors split.
So that you couldn't,
They don't have.
you don't
access
have to
the
do
rest of the-
individual, you could actually lock it down from one area. And that's a lot with electronic access and stuff, and Jeremy's been in on that, but that's a great question.
Yes, yeah. Door hardware meeting's coming.
Yeah.
So. It's a good one.
As long as there's bulletproof.
If any of y'all have free time, it's riveting,
Literally.
literally, yeah. Anything else?
I think it looks great.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, if you don't mind, we'll ease toward the BG3. So we see this just as an evolution. We don't think it's earth-shattering. The numbers have evolved just a little bit, but it's pretty marginal. What's the word?
Marginal.
It's, incrementally, based on where we've been. So here we are. You can just kind of scroll through there. You can see that the numbers have broken out a little more than they have in the past, so we're starting to separate general construction from mechanical, plumbing, electrical. Grand total construction costs currently stands at 49 million and some change. So we've stayed close to the script that we've been on the entire time. But just to be
We just updated these
completely
numbers, so they
forthright
should be
with
really
you,
close.
these are just, this is budget stuff. The hard numbers are gonna come on down the road. But Codell has been an excellent teammate to us. They took our plans, made a trip to Winchester earlier in the week, did a page-by-page turn. So they've gotten in there pretty deep, and I think this is a good placeholder for now.
Yep.
All right, that concludes our regular programming. I'm going to leave this for Mr. Reese. He said he needed a workout, so this will be up here. And we really appreciate you all. and
Thank you.
We're gonna keep easing it forward.
So, Mr. Brock, do you have anything further before I ask for consideration for approval of the drawings?
No, I mean, it's been a work in progress. They've been great to work with. Anything that we've asked, they've designed, and then when I shook my head, they've redesigned. And when they brought us a bunch of red, we said no, and they took it out. So it's been a good progress, and it's been a long progress, but they've been great to work with. I'm happy so far with the design. We still have to nail down like door hardware and what those colors will actually be and some of that stuff. So won't look exactly like that, but that's the general design of it. I think it's gonna be a school that functions well. We've even asked Ms. Halcom and asked teachers and got input from them and different things as well. So we're happy with it so far.
Okay, with that being said then, I would like to call for a motion for approval of the 100% DD drawings. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we need approval for our BG3. Mr. Brock, do you have any comments on the BG3?
No, the prices they've stayed about the same from what we originally anticipated. And this is just an update on that to make sure that we're pretty close on our numbers. It's my recommendation we approve.
Okay. With that being said, I need a motion for approval of our BG3. Sharon Whitaker makes a motion. Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Be safe. It's bad weather. Thank you. You too. Thank you. Next, Mr. Brock, that brings us down to our action items. And first, we have consideration for approval of the Family Resource Youth Service Center School District Assurance Certification for 26-28.
Yeah, it's something we have to do, I think, biannually. It's for us to, in our operations of our youth service center, it's my recommendation we approve.
I need a motion for approval of the Frisky Assurance Certification for 26-28. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for an out-of-state trip for the ATC to go to Nashville for the Auto Diesel College. Mr. Brock.
So the Auto Diesel College reached out to Ms. Combs and offered to pay for a trip for our students down there to visit their college. They're gonna send a charter bus. I think we get to send 50 kids. It's at no cost to the district. They're gonna pay for everything. It's my recommendation we approve and give them that experience.
Okay. So all out-of-state trips have to be approved by the board.
They do.
So next, I need a motion for approval of the out-of-state trip for the ATC. Tammy Hardy makes a motion, Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of the MOU with Berea College.
This is give opportunity for Berea College to send educational students here to get field experience hours and also to do student teaching. It's my recommendation we approve.
I need a motion for approval, Sharon Whitaker, and a second by Sheila Samples. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of bank signatures.
Yeah, we have to do this a few times a year sometimes, and we need to update our signatures at the bank. It requires board approval, and we've got some people we need to add and some we're going to have to take off. It's my recommendation we approve.
I need a motion for approval of the bank signatures. Tammy Hardy makes a motion. Do I have a second? Sharon Whitaker makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of lease and security agreement with Kentucky Interlocal School Transportation Association. Mr. Brock.
Yeah, this is for the purchase of a new bus, is what it's for. We're trying to get on a schedule with our transportation where we do some fleet one year and then buses the next year, and this is a bus year, so this is approval for a bus.
Okay, so I need a motion for approval to buy a bus. Carrie Smallwood makes a motion, Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of classified maternity leave.
So if you remember, I think it was 2 months ago, we had to change some wording on certified. We left out classified. We need to change that same wording on our classified. It got overlooked. So this is just an update of that policy. It's my recommendation we approve.
I need a motion for approval of the classified maternity leave language. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do we have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of the FY 25-26 auxiliary salary schedule.
So there was, and Ms. Williams and I was talking about this evening, we've got a couple of documents, and I think we've got it figured out now where we are working from one specific document, but there was a position on there, we're not adding anything, that it was on there, and then some way through revision, it got taken off, and so all we're doing is putting that wording back. So it's not a new position or anything like that. We're just making sure that that wording is on that salary schedule the way it needs to be. So it's my recommendation we approve.
So I need a motion for approval to fix that. Tammy Hardy makes a motion, Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And next, Mr. Brock, we have consideration for approval of the contract teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, or the DHH.
We have a few students that need support because of their hearing impaired. This is a contract agreement that will allow this independent contractor to come in and work with those students. It would be temporary because we're looking for a long-term solution, but in the short term, we need somebody that can come in and work with them. It's my recommendation we approve.
I need a motion for approval of the contract with the DHH. Sheila Samples makes a motion, Tammy Hardy makes a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Consent.
Mr. Brock, that brings us down to our consent items. Would you like to discuss those?
They're just our regular consent items. It's the minutes from the October meeting, the treasurer's report, the paying of bills. I will get Mr. Yost to give just a short update on the treasurer's report as to where we are this year versus where we were at last year. And then the superintendent's travel, I've been to a couple of conferences, one today with our insurance company, Bluegrass Risk Management. And then this is just a review of our electronic user agreement. That's the agreement that we use within the district. So, Mr. Yost, you want to give us a brief?
Just to let you all know, I want to commend again everybody with their work on the budget and attention to spending this year. Compared to this point last year, through the fourth month of the year, through October, we're between $500,000 and $600,000 less on expenditures than we were at this time last year, which is on track for us to have a very good year in terms of our balanced budget and going above that. So we're on a good path right now. So through the first third of the year, we're between $500,000 and $600,000 ahead on expenditures versus where we were at last year at this time. So we'll keep on having our budget meetings. We'll keep on working with the principals and department heads on ensuring we're all sticking to our budgets. But so far, I want to commend everybody for doing a wonderful job on that.
And I want to just say that, reiterate, our departments have done such a great job. And even Mr. Simpson in our directors meeting this week, he's like, I'm glad to know where I'm at in my budget and to have my budget and to have these meetings. And we've not really done without anything. It's just we're really paying attention and being good stewards of what we have. So it's my recommendation we approve the consent items.
Okay. I need a motion for approval of the consent items as discussed. Tammy Hardy makes motion, Sharon Whitaker makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, that brings us to the superintendent report. That's you, Mr. Brock.
Currently, we're sitting at about 2,048 students. That doesn't count our virtual that are performance-based. We won't get to put them in until we get to the end of the year, end of the semester, and see what they have passed and what they haven't. We're sitting at 93.23% currently for our ADA. So we're a little bit ahead of where we were at last year. Test scores became public this week. We had some areas that we made some improvement in. We had some areas we slipped back just a little bit in. Overall, we kind of maintained. You all know that I'm very academically minded and opportunity minded for our kids. So is it what I wanted? No, but missing all of January and February, but about a week and a half of school, I think that it's a testament to the work that our principals and our directors and our teachers put in to maintain. If you look at our data from December, when we hadn't missed but a couple of days, we were projected to make huge academic jumps again. And I know that much instructional time lost did hurt us. I feel like it could have been worse because we could have went backwards instead of staying where we're at. We did have some bright spots, and I won't steal other people's thunder, but also one thing that happened this year, and it's not an excuse, the state changed the way they calculate change. And so if you had gains, you got to add them twice. If you went back in areas, they got subtracted twice. So they went back to the 2017 model. It doesn't matter to me how the state calculates, because I believe that if we are doing the right things and we're focused on teaching kids standards to mastery, test scores take care of themselves. And so that's what our focus will continue to be. And if we can get in school this year and not miss 21 or 3 days, then I expect us to make big jumps again next year. As some of you all know, or you've heard, Mr. Rogers has moved to a support position within the district. So we have a high school principal position posted, and we'll be hiring that in the near future. And that's all I have. Now we have principals.
Okay, that brings us down to the principal's report.
I'll start. Carla Bailey representing Estill Elementary tonight. We celebrated our Veterans Day with a student-led program. Thank you, Jenny. For the student-led program, we have performances with first grade, third, fourth, and fifth choir. Second grade had their fall concert led by Miss Vivian Smith, and the focus this time was on gratitude, which covers was aligned with our SEL program. Autism Training Center met with families that night and did some training on communication strategies, and that went really well. We had our third annual trunk or treat. 48 community partners and businesses came to provide a safe environment for all students to do trick or treating, and that was absolutely incredible. Our Spirit Squad sponsored our first Friendsgiving at Estill Springs, and we're really blessed to have a staff that truly enjoys being together. So we had great food and great fellowship on that day. And I also would like to invite you to our upcoming events, which is December 12th, we have our Christmas Bazaar, and December 16th, we have our Christmas concert. So please come out and join us for that.
And I know that's not just Estill Springs that's doing it, we're moving in this direction in other schools as well. I love when we're having our parent-teacher conferences or family conferences that our students are explaining what they're learning and where they're at. Because that puts the focus on the kid knowing what they're learning and where they're at in their learning progress, which is important because if we're going to create lifelong learners, we want people that learn after they even graduate from high school and graduate from college. And you kind of take charge of your own learning for that. So we're not saying it's all on the kids, because it's not. We are definitely a huge part of that. Our families are a huge part of that. But that they know where they're at is important. So
And kids enjoy it.
they do enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reynolds, representing the high school. I want to start off with saying our JAG teacher, Miss Ashley Quinn, has absolutely been rocking it out with our JAG program. She reported to us that the JAG Kentucky chapter awarded a $2,000 mini grant that's going to fund some events for our students that are in JAG at the high school. Also, Miss Sutter, she told us that all students who applied for Christmas assistance have been successfully sponsored, so that's absolutely amazing. She is also going through a clothing giveaway where there were about 16 people that responded to that, and we've got a plethora of clothes that's being given away to them. And then shout out to our JRPD, Sergeant Lambert and his wife. They did an absolutely amazing job of setting up our Veterans Day program, incorporating multiple students in our building from different academic and activities. Also, our staff, the FCCLA and Ms. Hall, they prepared a wonderful luncheon for our veterans to sit and socialize with families and each other. And then thanks to Ms. Brenniger and Mr. Norton, we have attendance challenges going on at the high school right now. There's a board out in the hallway that has our seniors through our freshmen, and their daily attendance is put out there. Our freshmen have absolutely been killing it. The other day, they had 93% daily attendance, so they're like, we won our reward. And then also our cafeteria crew, they prepared an amazing lunch for our students and staff. I mean, 30+ turkeys that they cooked to feed about 600 students. And then also, Ms. Becky came to me when we had students going on a field trip today, and she said, we've got to feed these kids too. And she prepared to-go boxes for them, and after the field trip, they came and picked those up.
Awesome.
Sounds like Miss Becky.
We have had a lot going on at West Urban. Hello, Tanya Miller, West Urban. Learn, Jeremy, look at me. So we've had a lot going on at West Urban over the last month. Our 5th grade students just finished their first novel study, which was an I Survived book, I Survived the American Revolution. It paired really well with social studies because right now in social studies, they are in the American Revolution. So that also gave them a bit of background knowledge as they went into that unit in their other class. They actually just had a tea party this week after learning about the Boston Tea Party. So those were pairing well together. We also hosted our Veterans Day event, which is a Veterans Day breakfast that we do every year. So we invite our veterans in and we feed them, and then some of our students come and eat with them, and we just honor them and spend some time with them. We also held our school-wide Thanksgiving meal, and it was wonderful, so a huge shout out to our cooks as well. We welcome the marching engineers. It's always one of our very favorite things. Our kids were so well behaved and they were in awe. Some of their mouths were literally open the whole time. So we just really enjoy seeing them coming to our school. We had our first Girl Scout meeting after school, which is new for our students, and it's a great opportunity that we are able to provide for some of our girls. And we also held our first technology club meeting after school this month. We also had parent-teacher conferences. One of the highlights for us is that our 3rd through 5th grade students created their own websites in technology class, and they actually displayed their data through those websites and talked to their parents using their own website that they made in technology class. So that was a huge shout out to Miss Kirby, our technology teacher, because she's doing a lot of really good technology projects that will help them as they grow. We also had our Trail of Treats event, and I want to give a huge shout out to our community partners and our central office friends for coming and just allowing our students to have that great time. We had parties as well. We had our first chorus concert, which was 4th grade, and it was a boo-tastic celebration. It was all spooky songs, so they had that last week. We had another successful round of family lunches. This week we were able to welcome 4th grade families, and so that has been just such a blessing to be able to get parents into the building and to see them. And then we completed our first round of IPMs at the end of October, which were our interim proficiency measures. And we've been celebrating student growth, and we are gearing up for iReady, which will start after Thanksgiving break.
Okay, now we are looking at Success Academy. I'm Cassidy Moore. This, one of our main focuses this year has been direct instruction. For the most part at Success Academy up until this year, it's been mainly virtual learning, so we're working on direct instruction a lot this year. And for the first time in Success Academy history, we had a student volunteer to teach one of the standards, so that was really great. She actually got up and taught the rest of her classmates one of our power standards that we're working on. We also work on our relationship building with the high school and middle school, because obviously our goal is to get our students back to their home school. So with that, we try to build relationships with somebody from the high school and middle school with our students. And one of the people that works really hard at building that relationship is Miss Charlotte Sutter. And so she came down during Halloween and painted pumpkins with our students. And then she also did cooking lessons. Miss Rader and her came down and did a salsa recipe for the kids, and they learned how to make salsa. And then at the bottom, you have our Apex learning, which is our virtual learning that our kids do. I had to make this on Tuesday before I went to Estill. So at that point, 85% of our students had accomplished their goals, but obviously it goes up throughout the week. And so as of today, 93% of my students were at their goal in Apex. So that's Success Academy.
Is that Ms. Halcomb or Ms. Hall?
I'm Miss Halcomb. I'm from Estill County Middle School, and I promise not to take too long, but we have a lot to brag about, and I am so excited about our students and our staff and all the hard work that they have put in. First, we had a terrific Red Ribbon Week and Halloween that our Youth Service Center and Student Council put on. They did a fantastic job of planning those events. So we appreciate them and all their hard work and their leadership within our school. We want to give a shout out to Mr. Thomas and Ms. Beard. They've been working really hard with our KYA group, and they just got back from their KYA conference. Our students was a premier delegation there, and our 8th grade student, Delana Bailey, she was an outstanding ambassador. So we are really proud of them and the hard work that they put in creating a bill and writing a bill and presenting that at that conference. This week, a group of our teachers, myself and Ms. Beard, we went to visit Boyle County Middle School and learn
some of their strategies that they're using in their classroom and talking about Tier 2, the use of it, implementing it inside the classroom. We've seen great gains, we've seen growth, but we're ready to hit the ground running and keep moving forward. So we're learning and growing every day, and I'm very, very proud of our staff and our teachers for wanting to learn and wanting to grow and finding new ways to connect to our students. So moving on, I could talk all night about how proud I am of our students and our staff. We were green in all areas on our KSA testing. This is tremendous. I'm so proud of them. Of course, we were 56.8 overall, which puts us in yellow, but like I said, we were green overall in those areas. I do want to give a big shout out to our SROs because they play a huge part in that safety factor. It's the very, one of the last slides. We got a 70.9, but our safety index score was 66 this year. And I think a lot of that is a huge impact of our SROs. They're visible in the hallways, they're in the classrooms, they're at drop-off, they're at parent pickup. They are very interactive with our students, and I want them to know how much of a difference they are making each and every day. So, like I said, we are super excited about our middle school program and everything that's going on. I do want to thank the high school for inviting us and our students to be a part of the Veterans Day celebration and having Mr. Dake, one of our very own, give a presentation there as well. So again, we're rising to the top, we're moving mountains, and I'm just so thankful to be able to work with these students and this staff every single day.
Ms. Hall?
Ours isn't up there yet, but I'll tell you a few things that aren't captured in that anyway. It is a really busy time at South Urban Preschool. It is close to December 1. That's a big deal for us. December 1 count determines our funding for the next year. So we're very busy with that right now. We're also really busy with something that I can't capture in pictures, and that is observations of classrooms and students. So that's a busy time too. They get those from myself and as well as outside groups come in and give us feedback on our classrooms. So some things that I could take pictures of were the Touch a Truck. That was the last family night. The other family night was tonight. There's no pictures of that either. It was a family meal and a craft with families, and then also parent-teacher conferences were going on tonight, and it was busy when I left there. We did our first pumpkin patch we've ever done inside our new fenced area. That was really nice. We don't take the kids on field trips this time of year. We've actually only done that one time, and it was to the high school thing. But I'm open to that. We might try that later. But for now, we just took them out front, and they each picked a pumpkin, and then the teachers had a choice of what they wanted to do with those pumpkins. They had paint or stickers. We still have toddler time going on. That's under the pumpkin patch. That happens every other month. We did a trick or trot. We keep the kids right on the sidewalk. It's not as big as the elementary schools, but the kids really do enjoy it. We had some high school students come, so that's a picture of some football players. They dressed in their uniforms as costumes. And we finished up our tree unit that's there, and I tried to get some of the tree unit that you could see where it is a tree unit, but it incorporates learning as well. So those kids right there are putting up some apples on their tree, and they have to put a certain number of apples and be able to count those apples. Up at the top, during that pet unit, we had the petting zoo come inside that fenced area also. So we did that during the school day this year so that all of our kids could take part in that. Learning targets, one of our learning targets for the current unit is I can learn to use money. So we have a traveling store. We've done that twice this unit already. That day they were buying ice creams, and today Carhartt donated beanies for every child. So the kids, we gave them play money, and they bought the beanies from us at the store. Upcoming events, that first one on there was tonight, and then next week we are having the kids create tie-dye. It's a tie-dye day, and they're going to create that because we are in our clothing unit right now. And I included some assessment data. It looks a little alarming. It is not alarming at all to me. It says 21.69% of our 4-year-old children are kindergarten ready. I'm not alarmed because that is at the end of the year what we want them to be. So I'm very happy with 21.69%. And many of those kids that are ready are the ones that attended last year.
And then for our 3-year-olds, you have to keep in mind that 3-year-old preschool targets children that are delayed. We have some that are not, but that's one of the qualifying areas to come as a 3-year-old. So we're trying to catch those kids up and provide them with interventions. And right now we have 18% of those kids ready for preschool, not for kindergarten. It's a separate assessment. We have increased 4 children since we last talked to you, so they are showing up. We have an increase in enrollment, so that is good.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of our principals and all the hard work. One of the reasons that we like to showcase our schools during this time is just so the public can see all the exciting things that are going on. And I know I say it every board meeting, but it's a great time to be an engineer.
It is. And this is just a drop in the bucket of what's going on in our
Yep.
schools and the good things that's going on in our schools. It's just kind of highlighting.
Yep.
So,
We feel like that's real important to do every board meeting. So
absolutely.
thank you all, and I know that you all are putting in lots and lots of hard work. So that brings us down to our board member forum. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Alexander, do you have anything from school you'd like to share?
All the clubs are ramping up and getting busy, and we have a school store getting started at the high school, so it's going good.
Exciting times.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did I hear correctly that the Botics,
Yeah.
they won? One person won? Is
Yep.
this their first
So, yeah, it's our robotic gladiator league.
gladiator? That's
Which is kind of like battle bots that you
Yeah.
see on TV.
Yeah.
We have a team started this year at the ATC, and all of the programs except for nursing are working together on that. So it's kind of a collaborative project with every other program there. And they won their first match and won their second match.
That's great.
So.
That's great.
And out there the other night at the showcase, they were busy working on those bots.
Repairing.
Yeah,
They-
yeah, they were repairing them, so.
Great.
Does anyone have anything else they'd like to share? Okay, if not, do we have any public comments, Mr. Simpson?
I'll address it this week, yes.
Okay. Anything further? If not,
No.
I think we need a motion to adjourn. Sheila Samples makes a motion. We have a second. Tammy Hardy makes a second. All in favor? Thank you all for being here, and happy Thanksgiving.